Too hot for TV.
Welcome back to Doctor Who Too Hot for TV. We are the podcast that looks at all things Doctor Who Extended Universe. And today I'm joined once again by Mr. Joe Ford. Joe Ford, how are you and what are you doing here?
Error. This is not Joe Ford. This is Giles. There has been an instability in the dimensional web. Hello, I'm delighted to be here. People might be a bit confused, Dylan, by what I just said.
Yeah, what's a dimensional web? This is all about adventures in time and space, isn't it?
Not anymore.
Oh, dear. Well, for those of you who have been listening over on your feed for a few months, we've been doing commentaries on The Stranger. 6 video releases from BBV. But, obviously, Bill Baggs knows how to flog a dead horse. And so there are some other Stranger releases on audio. So I thought we'd pop over here and talk audios. So before we do, just in case people haven't heard those, what are your general thoughts on the 6 Stranger videos?
Well, the only thing I would rather do than get in your pants on my sofa is sit next to you, snuggle up and watch The Stranger 6 videos, which we did over two viewings. And we had a great time, didn't we? Actually, I sort of had my eyes open because I went in with extremely low expectations and watched the first 3, which got, I thought, better with each release and culminated in easily the best of the 6, which is the third one, In Memory Alone. Then we did the second lot, and you was a little bit tired that day, as was I. I think somewhere along the line we just stopped talking about The Stranger in the commentaries and started talking about our love lives or something like that. But still a lot of fun. But let's just say, if the first half of The Stranger videos, and I'm still calling them videos, even though you had DVDs, because they were videos.
Yeah, they're shot on video. They are videos.
With enhanced special effects on DVD, though. The first half is basically Doctor Who Light, or what if Colin Baker's Doctor went off and became a hermit with Miss Brown, a.k.a. Perry. And the second half of the videos, the last 3, is basically, no, we're ditching all of that. We ain't doing knockoff Doctor Who anymore. The Stranger is this temporal assassin who's had his entire mind wiped and is sort of discovering his evil past. Does that sort of cover it?
Yeah, pretty much. It was wonderful to revisit them. As listeners will know, I wrote a book about them. I love them. I've watched them more than Bill Baggs has, definitely. So it was great to revisit them again. And what was even better was to revisit them with you, because I usually watch these things alone, like the sad loser I am.
Or force your brother, either.
Well, yeah, exactly.
If he's willing.
Yeah. But I think he's still going through the therapy of having to watch Stranger as a child over and over again.
There has been a few things, hasn't there, on Too Hot for TV where he said, I'm sorry, I've got a limit.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what they were.
He's a busy man, though. He can't be wasting his life with this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas I have no life whatsoever, so I had great fun. Well, the biggest things that came out of the videos was just how terrific Colin Baker, David Troughton, Nicola Bryan, and John Wadman were. So the 4 regulars, and I kept saying throughout those commentaries, why weren't these people given TV shows? Like, they've all got a lot of presence, and fuck me, Bill Baggs is lucky to have them doing this.
Absolutely. And I think we'll find out today what happens eventually when he doesn't have them.
Pain. That's what.
Exactly. So I think we should jump into the first two of these, which are known as the Stranger Chronicles. They're called The Last Mission and Eye of the Storm, both written by Nick Briggs, although one of them is credited to Arthur Wallace, which is a pseudonym, and we'll get into why he used that a bit later.
I was going to say, thank God you said that. I was going to say in the second one, this is much better than the Nick Briggs script for the video one.
That's him. So nobody really knows when these were released. It's sometime in early 1995, but the exact date is unknown, although erroneously on the internet they're listed as coming out in 1999. But it's not true. They were recorded, though, in November of 94, so I guess that is where I shall do my news at the time from.
Oh, yes.
Reliable BBC sources have stated that a large amount of time has been spent with Amblin production personnel concerning the continuity between the proposed new Amblin Universal Doctor Who series and the original BBC version. We understand that while the pilot episode will not follow on directly from the final BBC story, Survival, the show's history will not be forgotten, and new episodes will fit in with what has gone before. Interesting that made the news, that it was a continuation rather than a reboot.
I mean, when you press play on the TV movie, there was no doubt that they hadn't left the continuity behind. It starts with Paul McGann going, "A long time ago on my planet of Gallifrey, the Daleks, the Master." Okay, thank you very much.
It's interesting, though, again, that's a headline. And when myself and Liam, many months back, looked at all the other potential reboots that they were looking at with Amblin, they were all proper reboots, like brand new First Doctor, origin story, leaving Gallifrey. But ultimately, what we got was, it was on the planet Skaro that my old enemy, the Master.
It was a fascinating episode, but almost without exception, all of those alternatives were agonising.
Oh, I thought they were brilliant.
Oh, you would, though.
No, I caveat that with, I thought they were brilliant when I was 13 and first read about them, because they are 90s action-packed sci-fi in a way that 13-year-old me would have loved them. But yeah, they were dog shit. Other news, because this was as Amblin were heating up and the last of the Time Lords was simmering down. Barry Letts and Terence Dix met with Leonard Nimoy earlier this year to discuss the then-proposed Doctor Who film. Nimoy was keen to have Letts and Dix involved in the project as advisors, and reportedly told them that if no one suitable presented themselves soon, he might play the Doctor himself, because Nimoy was going to direct the film.
Is that real?
Yeah.
I mean, I just figured that was one of those rumours that went flying around. Because Nimoy, have you seen Star Trek 4? Nimoy is a great director.
Yeah. No, and it makes absolute perfect sense that they would have got him to do it. If I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, because their option was running out, they had to have cameras rolling. They engaged Nimoy as a director. Again, not a bad choice. And they were going to send him out with a small unit to basically shoot some plate shots of a desert that could be used as Gallifrey, so they can say principal photography has started. And eventually, I think it was Siegel that went and spoke to Nimoy and said, look, you're not directing it. They haven't got any money. If you do this, you'll endanger our project. These guys are never going to have the money. You're never going to shoot it. And so Nimoy relented.
I mean, the idea of a hybrid between Nimoy, Letts and Dix, I mean, that's crossing two of my favourite fandoms there. I'm a little bit hard right now. just as to what that could have been. That is really enticing. However, I'm glad we got Jeffrey Sachs, because that movie looks amazing.
Me too. The final bit of news, Jonda International Promotions, do you remember them?
No,
nobody does. Are about to issue a series of Doctor Who-based British Telecom phone cards, which would retail at £7.50. I've got the full set of those. They're terrible.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
Many moons ago on Twitter, I posted a big long thread about how bad they were. I'll include them in the show notes if I remember, because
What's so bad about them?
They are the worst bits of Doctor Who merchandise I think ever made. Pre-Photoshop, badly photoshopping.
Surely not worse than, the Leela with the enormous hair.
No, this is worse. Words fail me.
I wonder if Mark's mum got those, because she gets every bit of, stamps and phone and all of that for him. I wonder if she's got. I'll find out.
Well, next time I come see you, I'll bring the full set and we can see if they still work.
Please.
Merch at the time. We had the hardback book from Virgin Publishing. It was How Stammers and Walker, Doctor Who, the 70s. We had The New Adventure Falls the Shadow with Seven, Ace and Benny. The Crystal Bucephalus, is that how you say it?
That's the one.
Yeah,
yep.
Smashed it with the Fifth Doctor.
Christopher Bewlis, is it?
Christopher Bulish
Mm.
with the Fifth Doctor, Chameleon, and whoever else. The First Doctor Handbook, and the final release by Titan Books under its Doctor Who The Scripts line, The Crusade. Fraser Hines Mythmakers, and the comic strip was food for thought, featuring the First Doctor, Ben and Polly.
I don't know where to start with all of that. I mean, that was the time, right, when we were putting it all together. The 70s, the handbooks.
Yeah.
I fucking love those releases.
And it was like the first sort of cohesive history of the show. Like, we'd obviously had the Haining books and stuff that played a little fast and loose. It was anecdotes and memories versus paperwork, I think, a lot of the time in those Haining things. And a lot of the 70s stuff and 60s stuff that those books have now, there's new research that's been done that sort of usurped it. But it's felt like that they were the first one that said, right, if we go into the written archive, what does it say about this, and this?
I remember in the handbooks they had the budgets of the old 60s episodes, like Dalek's Master Plan and stuff like that. And it was like, £1,500 per episode or something like that, including Hartnell's salary. I mean, it's been said on many tedious Doctor Who podcasts, including mine, unfortunately, repeatedly, that those handbooks sort of, because they came out with lots of reviews and things like that, that it all got absorbed into fan consciousness. And it basically, Doctor Who podcasts exist now to smash those fan myths and give new opinions on Doctor Who stories. But man, they were an invaluable resource at the time. The two books that you named there, Falls of Shadow, good grief, that was that 300-page torture porn by Daniel O'Mahony, wasn't it?
I don't even remember it. I probably read it, but I don't remember it all.
There was like three on the bounce, that, Parasite, and something else, and it was just Bernice being sort of tortured. It was like a Saw, the movie, but with Bernice in it, just going through all these dreadful trials. You're wondering why she stuck around. Christopher Bulish, well, that speaks for itself. What else did you say?
The Crusade script book, Fraser Hines Mythmakers, Food for Thought, a comic strip written by Nick Briggs featuring the First Doctor.
Oh, my God, exciting. Did you ever do a table read of those script books?
No, I can't do a table read of stories that exist.
I did. I took that in, right. I had the Red Dwarf script book, and it wasn't the Crusade. Was it Ghostlight? Anyway, and our mate, we did like a tape recording for drama. Where that tape is, I do not know, but we did the episode where Lister and Rimmer are marooned. I think it's
marooned.
Called Maroons. Yeah, that's the one. And Ghostlight as well.
Oh,
God, I wish I could find that tape. Happy days.
Release that.
I mean, how did I miss the Stranger Chronicles amongst all of this?
Who knows? Because no one really knows when they came out.
I know, but you look at the old issues of DWM. I mean, they're advertising this stuff on every other page.
But no one knows when they first plopped through the letterbox.
At some point between 95 and 99.
I think it's early 1995, but can't be too sure. Presumably between Breach of the Peace, which came out in December of 94, and Eye of the Beholder when that came out, which I think was 96. So, but yeah, early 95.
Too hot for TV.
Solomon is a revolutionary leader in a resistance group in the Dimensional Web. After a failed mission against the authoritarian protectorate, Solomon is captured and offered a deal. His comrade's freedom in exchange for undergoing the estrangement program, a psychological reconditioning process meant to erase his ideological convictions. Believing himself immune, Solomon agrees, but emerges emotionally altered and detached from his past. He is reborn as the enigmatic figure known as the Stranger, setting the stage for his future journey.
Too hot for TV.
Egan, Saul and Solomon find themselves forced out of the Dimensional Web and unexpectedly back on Earth. They encounter Meta, a young girl ensnared in a military scientific experiment. As a deadly storm closes in on the isolated cottage they are hauled up in, Egan's journey becomes a deeply human one. He begins to understand human emotions, morality and vulnerability in ways he never has before. With everyone's life in danger, Egan must kill the woman he loves to save everyone else. Unable to do so, Solomon is forced to step up.
Too hot for TV.
Presumably you've not heard these before, right?
No, never. But I'm pleased I watched the videos first to give me a lot of the context. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had a clue what these were about.
Yeah, you can't really just jump into the series with these. They're not exactly new user-friendly, would you say?
The first one I thought was actually really useful because it starts off with Colin Baker going, the estrangement program. I was the first subject. Was I Solomon or was I the stranger? And that's sort of how it starts. And it does give you all of the backstory and answers that I was asking you for
Yeah.
throughout the first 4 bloody videos.
But I wonder if you'd had seen that, if you'd heard that first or seen a video representing that, would all the others be really boring once you knew that?
Maybe.
Because
Yeah,
the
maybe.
whole point of the videos, and perhaps we'll get back to this when we get to A Stranger in a Strange Land, is who is the stranger? Whereas this goes, this is exactly who he was. So logically, from this point on, you can only really do where is he going?
Well, it's really odd, this first one, isn't it? In that it both wants to make a mystery out of the estrangement program and give you details. It's sort of trying to be inscrutable and spell everything out at the same time. And it gives you the final mission that the stranger Saul and Egan go on before he goes into the estrangement program.
Which seems to contradict the Terror game, because you think you're seeing
Yeah.
his final mission in that, and it's in a nightclub rather than an alien world.
I kept waiting for Louise Jameson to show up at some point in this. Instead, we got Elizabeth Sladen. I mean, there's Doctor Who companions popping up all over the place.
You do wonder whether they approached Louise Jameson.
That would have made more sense,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? And would have set a lot easier, because we'll talk about Elizabeth Sladen. But in the same breath, it does then show you all the steps that led up to him going into the estrangement program, and the motive behind that and why they wanted to do it to him. So it does add a load of context. I think of all the audios, this is the one that adds the most context to the videos.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know when I first heard the first one. The second one, I own the tape off. I bought it from a convention of some sort and was very disappointed because it was an audio version of something I'd already got on video. But, it is what it is. So this first one, I don't think I even heard it properly until I was writing my book. And it is a big sci-fi epic in the way that they could only hope to do on VHS.
It's like The Stranger with Disney money,
Yeah, well, quite. So the reason these came about is because they had finished The Zero Imperative, which was quite an expensive film comparatively, and so they needed time to recoup. But they wanted to do more Stranger stuff, and Briggs had been on saying we should do audios, because they all did audio visuals back in the day together. And Bags was like, yeah, okay, do some audios, but Bags was busy working on Children in Need for some reason. And so Briggs was sort of given a free rein to write the first script, and he commissioned Simon Messingham to write a second script, which fell apart. And so he ended up writing the second script, Eye of the Beholder, very quickly under a pseudonym of Arthur Wallace.
I mean, this has got, and I don't mean this in an entirely negative way, this does have Briggs stamped all over it. It's all about men, essentially, and they're all got macho dialogue like, they're picking up speed again, Egan. Oh, shit, and lots of swearing. I mean, we're in sort of Virgin New Adventures territory, aren't we, where we're allowed to swear with this stuff. I mean, someone says at one point, this time we're really going to eat shit and die. One of them goes, I was like, oh my God. It's very macho SF, but I thought sort of quite vivid. Certainly in the settings.
Absolutely. Well, Briggs's biggest influence, and once I say this, if you're not aware of this, you will see this suddenly in Sword of Orion, in this, in everything, is Blade Runner. That, to him, is sort of the pinnacle of serious science fiction. So there's a lot of that in there. There's a lot of that in all his Dalek Empire stuff. That is the sort of stuff he likes, but his version's always more militaristic, I think, as it is here.
It is so nice, though, after watching, I mean, I wouldn't say the early Stranger ones lack ambition, because they're both set, the first two are set on alien planets, for God's sakes, but, they're clearly made with a budget. So suddenly we're on space stations, and in the second half of this, it's skyways and slums, and we're visiting a technocratic society buzzing with activity, we're told, and you can hear spaceships zooming around, and it is nice to just have our balls to the walls science fiction Stranger story.
So obviously it acts as an origin story. Is it a good origin story? Is it what you're expecting from having seen the videos?
Yeah, well, because I think again, I think Troughton and Wadmore and Baker have great chemistry. So hearing them on the mission, and I'm sort of used to them being together now, that was quite nice. Where this falls down, unfortunately, and I never thought I'd say this in a million years, is Elizabeth Sladen coming in as Alexa. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Everybody's Alexa's going to go off now. Apologies. This sort of militaristic woman working for the Protectorate. Is that right?
Yeah.
And they want to take Solomon and put him through the estrangement program. It's because they consider execution morally unacceptable, apparently. So that instead of punishing them by killing them, they basically wipe them clean and give them a new life. These time terrorists, but Sladen ain't up to it. She just sounds like Sarah Jane Smith pretending to be in the army.
She's just not good, is she?
No, it's terrible.
It sounds like Sarah Jane Smith trying to pretend to be a baddie undercover or something like that.
I kept waiting for the twist that it was Sarah Jane Smith. It's because it's her voice as well. We're so used to that voice. Hearing Elizabeth Sladen say things like "my strike team are in position," I mean, it just sounds weird.
Have you ever seen her in anything else? Because we're all used to her playing Sarah Jane in a certain way and her being great at it. But is it a bit of a Tom Baker thing where actually she's shit in everything else and only good in Doctor Who?
I have seen her in that Some Mothers Do Hasm episode, and she is very funny in that, and in no way Sarah Jane Smith. And I saw her in the Barry Letts Alice as the Dormouse, and she was very funny in that too.
Do you think she's just miscast?
Yeah, and this, some roles just aren't for some people, and this role isn't for her.
I think you get that a lot in Baggs' stuff, that he's more concerned with getting a name in that world than casting the right person. I don't know whether you heard me and J.R. Southall were talking about the Auton trilogy a few weeks back, and there was a lot of all these people can clearly act, but they're not necessarily in parts that suit them.
In the second story, there's an actress called Amanda Hurwitz, right? Playing Sheila. What a great name. Now, she would have been much better cast as the Elizabeth, because she absolutely convinces as an authority figure. And I think it would have solved this completely. It was a good story, this, but every time Sladen spoke, I was taken out of it.
Yeah, it's really odd because, it's Sarah Jane.
Yeah, we don't want to say mean things about the dead.
I know. I mean, it depends. If it was Richard Franklin, I'm here all day.
You put a whole episode about that.
No, I could do many more. Yeah, it is weird that she takes you out of it, but I can forgive it because I feel like that's the weak element of the first one. And what's interesting about, Liz Sladen has perhaps a certain reputation within fandom that is one thing, and then another reputation within professional fandom that is another. And I don't know how often people speak on these things, but certainly she was very clear that she did not want to be directed by a fan, i.e. Nick Briggs. So even though Nick Briggs was directing it, they were in the booth in the recording studio. Bill Baggs, who was the professional director as far as she was concerned, was directing, but it was actually Nick just whispering in Bill's ear.
No. I mean, I have heard that she could be prickly. Like when she passed, Gary Russell's sort of tribute to her was absolutely full of love, but also very honest, and said, we fell out, and she could be very prickly and make unusual demands.
Yeah.
The whole Sam Jones thing in the Sarah Jane Smith audios.
But in the end, she fucking hated Bill Baggs, apparently, and her and Nick Briggs were great friends. So,
We love this behind-the-scenes gossip, though, don't we? As a production as well, because trust me, these productions are going to get worse as this episode goes along. I thought, just you wait. The Chronicles too. They are basic in some ways. Like there's laser effects in this that sound just like those terrible laser effects in that Sontaran. I think they've got a laser effect noise, which they use, and the music was a bit too loud at times as well. But there was an ambience to this. There was an atmosphere to it.
There's somewhere between the audio visuals of sort of the late 80s, early 90s and the early Big Finish, but you can see there's absolutely a lineage there where this is the midway point and this is Doctor Who fans doing audio. And when you think the other audios that are happening around the time of the Paradise of Death and Ghosts of End Space, I mean, are they much better productions than those two radio plays?
on par with, shall we
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
on par with. I thought the best thing about this first one was it does see perfectly into the first Stranger video.
Mm.
And sort of Colin Baker got a word for Colin Baker in these two. I mean, he's better in the second one, but he's just great on audio, isn't he? He
Yeah.
just has a voice for audio, and he has a gravity to his performance. So I think he sells it even better on audio than he does on the TV ones. But his last line is death and betrayal. They were wounds I had to heal before building a future. And then into him as the hermit in what's the first one called?
Summoned by Shadows.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. So, so this is like the Revenge of the Sith, seeing, I'm being a bit grandiose here, seeing absolutely perfectly, like 2 jigsaw pieces into that first Stranger video. So I say watch the video first, like we did, because like Dylan said, if you've got all the answers, then why are you going to watch it? But then this does add layers. So this was a big tick for me, this one.
I think also with Colin, you have this thing of, he goes into those first couple of Strangers sort of going, this is a bit cheeky. It's a chance to play Doctor Who again. And, it's a bit of a fuck you to the BBC. But actually, once the character changes to Solomon, he is getting good enough material where it's like, oh, right, this is quite meaty. I'm not going to say it's the most meaty role he ever does, but it's meaty enough for him to do something interesting and different with. So I feel he's quite invested in the character by this point.
He is so convincing. I mean, we said this in the commentary, as the total bastard of the last 3, when he's torturing people and things like that. He's got that look in his eye. He's terrifying.
Yeah. So they were both released at the same time. They were both recorded at the same time. So the other one is The Eye of the Storm, which, as we know, became Eye of the Beholder, which is the final film. So this is a 60-minute audio versus a 90-minute film. Do we think it works better as a 60-minute audio?
Absolutely, it works better as a 60-minute audio. I think it is a really tight character piece. This is the best of everything we're talking about today. This is the best release, I think. Mostly because not only is it a good story in its own right, the whole story of Meta out in the country being experimented on, but it's also a really good character story of Egan falling in love with Meta and then the emotional consequences of that. This has got such a good emotional hook to it, and you've got David Troughton, a fantastic actor, playing those scenes in the audio, and let's talk about this, a better actress playing Meta in the audio as well. So even though it's less time to sell the relationship, I was more convinced.
But I don't feel like there's anything missing from this version. And I know we'd say that if it was a cut down, but they elongate it, but without really adding anything in. It's just almost so they can sell it as 2 videos and make more money. It's weird.
All the plot beats, the zombies weren't there in it, were they?
No, but the zombies were a replacement for the storm because they couldn't do like creeping fog and things like that.
Ah, okay. It was really atmospheric, wasn't it? The last 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah. This feels like a tense, claustrophobic, exactly what you kind of want to do on audio when you've got limited money, limited cast. It's, it's a base under siege. It's a cottage under siege. And they just do it so well that you can see why they went, we could turn this into a video. And while the video isn't a failure, this version just works so much better.
I think you and me agreed when we watched the video that the first 10 minutes and the last 15 minutes were pretty great. And then everything in the middle was just sort of treading water to get to the end.
That's when we spend a lot of time talking about other things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love life. And I love about this is Meta's feelings in the audio. It's literally described as, when she's intimate, when she has sex with Egan, she's accelerating the energy from the web. Dylan, have you ever had sex that good that you've accelerated energy from the web?
From time to time, yes.
Excuse me, I was there. How dare you? But it all culminates in these really brilliantly dramatic character scenes where the dialogue could be so pony. There's lines like, there are other things worth dying for, worth living for. She did it for you. I know. It could be so pony. They sell it, absolutely, the actors.
Yeah. I think everybody's giving their all with this thing. And I mean, across all 3 of them we mentioned before, you've got Troughton, you've got Wadmore, you've got Baker, and they're all giving they're all at the top of their game. For a hokey bit of sci-fi, they're all like, this could be primetime BBC One in terms of the performances they're giving. They're not underselling based on the material.
Baker narrates some of the scenes in this one. Fuck me, he does it with such urgency. I was absolutely gripped. And he's basically just walking along corridors and looking in rooms and things like that, and looking at computers. Colin is just made for audio. Yeah, I mean, take Colin out of the role of Solomon and put somebody else in, and you're in a lot of trouble, and we will get there.
Yes, we will.
But Bags was lucky to have actors of this caliber selling this stuff, because we've heard other things, and the material is good, but it's elevated.
Yeah. Do you think it works better on audio than visually?
Yes, I do. Yes. I just think the brevity of it works better. Like it was just long enough to sell the story, to sell the relationship, to get to the dramatic high at the end. Yeah, definitely. And the atmospherics as well. There is an immediacy to it being in your ears compared to watching it on the screen. So I was like there, and I was watching this at night in the dark. So I was there in that cottage. The fog was rolling in. The dimensional webs, tendrils were crackling around me whilst they were having sex. God, it was all going down in my house that night.
I think if I was going to recommend a couple of things from the range, it would be the video in memory alone and this second audio, The Eye of the Storm. I think they are the pinnacle of where the range goes. And I think I don't want to undersell Baggs' contribution, because he does direct in memory alone and it looks great. But I think this is Nick Briggs doing what he does best. They're both worlds he's comfortable in operating in, and he knows how to get the best of his cast when directing. And also, he's got a great cast.
I've left my phone in the other room, but I did a list of the best to the worst of The Stranger, and my two god tiers were In Memory Alone and this audio. So I'm in complete agreement with you.
It was also this time around, because as I said, I'd heard it. The first time I heard it was, this is a shorter version of something that I think the video version's pretty good, so this is shit. So I've always had in the back of my mind that this one wasn't very good. And I was kind of waiting. Like, coming to it this time, it was the only one I was like, oh, God, I can't believe I'm going to listen to that again. How wrong I was. And I can't remember what my review was when I wrote the book, but I don't think it was. I think I was more positive with the video version. 10 years later, I completely reversed that. Old Dylan's a fucking idiot.
What I really found sort of with The Stranger as a whole is that it has, I know you took the piss out of me and said, yes, they've just stolen the Doctor Who format of being able to go anywhere because they can go out of the dimensional web. But I'm talking about tonally and in terms of the stories that they're telling. Like, the first couple of videos are quirky sort of science fiction ideas, a living planet who romances the stranger, a man shattered through time, a bit like City of Death. Then you go into sort of a weird, quirky Sapphire and Steel type story in Memory Alone. And then it's some more naturalistic stuff in the second half of the videos, but lots of different tones. Why I think this works so well is this, unlike a lot of the other Stranger stuff, has a beating heart to it. And that sells this more than the rest. That for me is characters that are my into most stories. And I was really sold on this relationship. And so at the end, where she sacrifices herself, does she? Because we'll get back to her by the end of this episode. You're really sad because Troughton's brilliant.
Absolutely. What I like about The Stranger as well is that there's a moral ambivalence to him. And when we meet him, he is the Doctor Who clone. He's a knockoff, a slightly more subdued. And then he decides he's going to get involved in help. And you go, oh, he's the hero. But to find out he's the villain, and actually at the end of this story where he has to kill somebody to save everybody else, and having seen him torture people and things like that, you go, oh, actually, this isn't Squint and it's Doctor Who. It's like, this is something a lot more complicated and darker and not more interesting, but it's interesting. It's a different path.
This audio made me realize that, I mean, not now, not after what he brings out after this, but at the time there was the possibility for sort of Companion Chronicles style Stranger audios that were terrific character dramas. It really could have been something then, I think.
Absolutely. Would you have liked to have seen more?
Yeah, more like this, absolutely, yes. The
So-
amount of shitty Big Finish I've had to sit through, yes.
The sad thing is, these didn't sell very well at the time. People were just not looking for Doctor Who on audio for a long, long time, believe it or not. So they went back to video and then they started doing something else. Years later, when they were doing their audio range with the Professor and Ace, there was going to be another Stranger audio with Colin, but for one reason or another, that didn't happen. But what this did do is remind Baggs that he was pretty good at pulling together audio and how perhaps easy it was to do audio compared to video. So he approached Virgin New Adventures and said, we would love to adapt your Doctor Who stories as
No.
full cast audio plays, and would you give us the license? They said, oh, well, yeah, if the BBC will agree, but the BBC wouldn't agree. So he tried
that would have happened. They
Yeah.
would have agreed to that if the BBC had said yes.
Yeah, exactly. So
Did he want to do them all?
I don't know, but they were still an ongoing thing, but it just sort of made sense, didn't it? That at some point someone was going to do an audio range and Bill Baggs tried to do it first.
When Big Finish got around to adapting some of those Virgin New Adventures as Benny audios, they came out brilliantly.
Yeah.
So maybe the audio landscape wasn't quite there at this point to be as good as those were, but that's enough. You were throwing these intriguing possibilities at me today.
Do you know about pre-Big Finish? Jason Haig-Ellery tried to get a Doctor Who audio series off the ground, which he recorded a pilot for, with a female doctor played by Peter Ware's wife, written by Paul Cornell. Don't know where that is, but they recorded the pilot.
No way. People need to know about this.
Like, where is that? Release it.
If anyone can find it on the dark web, it's you.
Yeah, I do not know where that is, unfortunately. But maybe, if I ever see Jason Haig-Ellery at a con, I'll be like, where is that? Can you... I mean, he won't release Shakedown, so he's not releasing that.
Bang him a tenner, he'll give you the cassette.
Yeah, maybe. Do we have much more we want to say on these first two audios?
Just that they were really enjoyable and they are well worth seeking out. Of everything we're talking about today, these are the two that I would recommend, especially the second one.
Absolutely. This is BBV when they're still very much in there. I don't want to call it like prime, as in like this is the greatest stuff you'll ever see, but this is the BBV that got me interested because they were doing interesting things with Doctor Who like titles.
Oh, can we just throw all the pretense to one side and just say this is when Bill Baggs had Nick Briggs propping him up with some imagination and good storytelling.
Yeah, and a great cast.
The last one we do today is when Briggs has long departed, and, well, we will get there.
So these two audios, are they clangers, bangers, or average meanders? You can, of course, rate them separately.
I would say they're both bangers, because I think they're both really enjoyable. There's nothing average about the two of them, but the second one is a slightly bangier banger than the first one.
Yes, it's a pair of bangers, with one banger being bigger than the other.
As impressive as Meta's bangers. That's right.
Too hot for TV.
So the next two encounters we will have with the Stranger are The Coming of Shadows and Force of Nature, which were two short stories, short audios on the Stranger DVD releases, which the first one on the Summoned by Shadows DVD, which came out in March 2003, and the second on the More Than a Messiah DVD, which came out in June 2003. I'm going to smash the releases and the news together here, but, they're only a few months apart from each other. So news at the time: Diddy Daleks, Mutant Mouldings alias Daleks Direct Limited have just announced the launch of their special edition half-sized Dalek range for the 40th anniversary, a limited production run of 40, and they will only cost £299. So a half-sized Dalek for 300 quid.
I would absolutely have bought one of those. Oh, mind you, what was £299 then now?
I don't know, but you know that they're doing that part work thing now. Someone worked out that, and you get a half-sized one once you put all the bits together. Someone worked out that it's about 1,800 quid you'll spend to get the whole set.
I'll be perfectly frank with you, Dylan. I've been telling every single partner that I've had for the last 20 years, I won't tell you how many partners that is, that I want a life-size Dalek for Christmas every single year, right up until Mark now, and it still hasn't materialised.
I'm going to get one day. One day.
Well, I'm moving in then.
Other news. Real Time Pictures have announced that they are going to start re-releasing their back catalogue on DVD. The first will be the myth makers of Nicola Bryant and Graham Harper on one disc. Exciting times. And Cyril Chaps had just died, R.I.P. And
Is that the Archimandrite? It is, isn't it? This fabulous hat, yeah.
revelation, while searching the BBC archives, Steve Roberts of the restoration team turned up a tape containing 80 minutes of studio footage from Revelation of the Daleks, which we've obviously all seen countless times now. And
Is that where you got that wonderful picture of Terry Malloy with the coffee cup?
quite
Just
possibly,
wearing the
yeah.
Davros mask. It's great.
And The Weakest Who, a special edition of The Weakest Link devoted to Doctor Who, has fallen through as the producers were unable to contract any of the Doctors to take part.
I mean, it happened eventually, didn't it?
It did, a couple of times, I think.
I just remember somehow Camille Kajuri won the thing, despite not getting a single fucking question right.
Well, yeah, this is pre-new series, so all the Doctors were clearly busy. Releases, we had Caldor City, Taran Capel. The Past Doctor adventure was Blue Box, featuring the Sixth Doctor and Perry. The Space Pirates on BBC Audio. Meglos on VHS. The Dark Flame with the Seventh Doctor, Ace and Benny, and a comic strip, The Nightmare Game. Then we had music from the Seventh Doctor Audio Adventures, Bernie Summerfield, The Beltron Incident, Sympathy for the Devil, featuring David Warner and Nicholas Courtney, and Project Lazarus. While we had the webcast, episode 6 of Sharda came out. Daleks Invasion of Earth was on DVD, and the comic strip was Oblivion.
We were being well catered for at the time, weren't we?
Well, indeed. Well, that was 2 months worth of releases. But,
okay. I mean, there was some dregs there. Did you hear? The Space Pirates, Meglos, and the Dark Flame.
I mean, I can't remember what the Dark Flame's like, but I've got time for Meglos, and I've always got time for the Space Pirates.
We need to talk. I haven't done that commentary yet.
I don't know whether I'd get 6 episodes of commentary out of it. That's the
You
only
could
thing.
talk for anything for 3 hours. Look, if Bill Baggs can do it, all right, we can.
Well, more of that later.
Blue Box is a fantastic Kate Orman Past Doctor adventure set during the start of the internet revolution in America, featuring the Sixth Doctor and Perry. It's fabulous.
And no, I've never read it. I'll add it to the list of many things to read.
Life's too short. I can't remember what else you had there. The double disc myth makers. I mean, there was lots coming out, though, wasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, we're approaching the 40th anniversary, so there's a ramp up in merch, and we're on the eve of the show being announced as coming back. So it would only go up and up and up and up and up from here, really.
The last episode of the Flashcast of Flashcast. I mean, we did the Scream of the Shalka one, didn't we?
Yeah.
They're a bit of a struggle, aren't they?
Yeah, but Scream of the Shalka was the one that was the most animated.
Really? Jesus Christ. Not Richard E. Grant, though.
But Sharda, their mouths don't even move, do they?
No, it was basically stills and occasionally they turn or something like that, yeah?
Yeah.
It was nice artwork, though, I remember. They did a lovely Gallifrey at the start.
Yeah, they did, yeah. But I haven't revisited that in years, but I'll go back at some point.
Mark and I did that recently, and it was basically his chance to talk about Paul McGann's relationship with Susanna Harker starting there. Because every time we see him at a convention and we go, we're doing your early days, he goes, Sharda, Paul McGann says every time. And we know why he remembers that one.
Because he's busy shagging.
That's right. She was pretty. Can I say to you, right? The two titles of these stories we're talking about, Coming of Shadows and Force of Nature.
Yes.
Very dramatic title. I mean, The Coming of Shadows is the name of a Babylon 5 episode, a massive arc episode, and Force of Nature is the name of a Star Trek The Next Generation episode where they have their warp 10 limit taken down to warp 4, big
right.
Juicy. Now, I wouldn't suggest that these two little shorts are quite as important as that.
No, not at all. Well, I mean, they were never going to be. They're sort of 12 minutes in length. They're written by Stuart Robson and James Potter. They don't actually say who the actors are, but I'm assuming it's Stuart Robson and James Potter.
I thought I could detect Bags in there somewhere. There were some stilted line readings.
So these are many, many moons. So it was 1996, the last time there was a Stranger release, and this is 2003. Now, they're meant to be little, what we would call now, short trips that appear on the DVD. So they're not full cast audios. They're not picking up where we left things off. They're meant to sort of fit into the existing canon. I guess, how do we feel about these little vignettes returning to the world without the stranger being present.
It's like reading sort of the prologue of a novel and saying, right, I have an opinion about that. Because they're so quick. And, the thing that really struck me was you hear the theme music twice in both of them, at the start and at the end. So that's 2 minutes of your 15 minutes gone. So they're basically 12-minute stories. I failed to understand the importance of them. I didn't quite understand. Were they setting up stories?
They were setting up the stories that they were on the DVD for. They're trying to make them more relevant and fit more into a cohesive world of the stranger. And I just don't think they need to.
No, I mean, the first one so you've got these two characters, Cain and Abel, very clever, who are corporeals that say things like, we created this plane of existence, so they feel as if they're sort of godlike beings. They're offering 5,000 embryos as blank minds to these creatures called mentors. Is that right?
Yes, indeed.
What's that got to do with the videos?
Absolutely fuck all.
What is this about? I put at the end of my notes, 2 people wrote this? 2 people?
So the idea is that these mentors can unlock Solomon's mind, and they can find out, more about what's in his mind under the estrangement program. So it's all meant to be part of that. I think it makes it too big of a story when it doesn't need to be that. Like, Briggs had the right idea when in The Last Mission. He tells a bigger story in terms of, because he can make the world more expansive, but he doesn't turn it into, this makes it more seem like sort of gods and monsters almost.
Yeah, The Last Mission just added context to what we'd seen. This puts it on a different board game now. The scale that we're working on is completely different. But none of this in these shorts is followed up anywhere in the other material.
Yeah. So it's sort of adding a new story to an existing mythology, which, I'm not altogether against the Timeless Children, but it just feels like, I think there's a lineage with the Timeless Children, whether people like it or not. You can absolutely go from, especially from The Brain of Morbius, to that and go, okay, I can see where that story came from. This is just like going, and we're going to take the character of the Doctor, and actually, secretly, there's a universe run by butterflies above it, and the Doctor is actually a butterfly.
Well, yes. Also, I thought that a lot of the dialogue was a bit ropey in these 2 shorts as well. I'll give you an example. It's a fleet of pink elephants dancing towards us. Of course it's a mentorship. Now, that's a joke, apparently.
Yeah.
And in the second one, I did get more of a sense of an ongoing story, because they literally say that their mission is to break Solomon out of the estrangement program, but where they've landed, where they've come out, he's not going to be there for another 10 years. Yeah. And it's a planet where, so it's got a big juicy science fiction idea, because it's a planet that's about to be terraformed. So it's a sort of not a toxic planet at the moment. That's why they can't breathe at the start of it. Big dramatic opening. It's going to be terraformed, and once it is, in 10 years' time, Solomon will be there. But then, for some reason, at the end, I couldn't gather why, they had to scarper, and so they just left.
I didn't know why, but it's the planet from More Than a Messiah, and they talk about putting this Trojan horse in the system of the planet, and that is Sophie Aldred's character ultimately. So they've obviously thought long and hard about how these things could work. I wonder whether the plan was to do them for each story, and whether they'd all sort of come together a little bit more, but ultimately they only exist for these first 2. I just don't think it needs to be done. I also think we're suddenly in a world of fan audio, like in terms of the production value, in terms of the acting, in terms of everything. It's like, before, it was some budding amateurs who were turning pro, who had cast a bunch of professionals, and everyone was doing their best to elevate it. Whereas this is very much just like, you and me could record this,
Shall we give it a go? We'll do a little prologue for all of the Stranger stories. It's a bit like the ones they did for season 2, isn't it? Do you know the BBC? I mean, even though they were professionally shot things, but they did those.
The TARDISodes.
The TARDISodes, that was it. Yeah, they did those. So that's kind of what this is all about. I didn't even make the link between this and the Sophie Aldred planet, so thank you for that. Because at the end, I just wrote, what the hell was that all about? Now at least I know. I mean, can I just give you another joke, though, that was in this? Because this was such a badly delivered line. He goes in the second one, I'm not sure whether it was Cain or Abel, but it was one of them. They're the only characters in it. This place is the last resort. What do you want? A postcard from the last resort saying having a lovely time at the last resort? It's a last resort. I was like, what? What is he talking about?
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm pleased they were only 15 minutes long. I'll say that.
Yeah, me too. I just like they're fine. They're fine if you're that invested. And I think I'm one of the people most invested in the world of The Stranger, and I don't give a fuck about this. So I've got to ask, who is buying the DVD and going, oh my God, more Stranger. Yes, thank God.
I mean, I did write in my notes here. I mean, I should have just put your name next to it. Are there hardcore Strangers fans that are buying these nothing coders?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, you.
I mean, the thing is, as a freebie on the DVD, fine, but now he's selling them for £3.99.
For £4? I know.
Yeah.
Now look, think of the things you could buy with £4. I mean, that's the cost of coffee these days.
Exactly, and a Costa coffee will last longer and be more enjoyable.
If we're having both of them, that's the price of a fry up. You can have a whole fry up.
Exactly. That £4, you could go to Spoons, get a pint and a packet of crisps.
What I will say though, Dylan, is that after experiencing the last story that we're going to talk about today, these two little 15-minute vignettes seemed a lot more competent.
There is something to be said for brevity.
Appreciate what you've got, I think, because things can only get worse.
At this point, do we think that there was more life in the characters of... I mean, this isn't really The Stranger, but more life in the Stranger universe? Because Bill Baggs apparently did.
Yes, I think that there is. But I think it is with those characters. I think those characters should always be involved somewhere.
Yeah.
The Stranger and Saul and Egan and Miss Brown are all really interesting characters, well played. So I think if you're going to tell stories... sort of filling in the details of the universe, either replace them with more, because Cain and Abel, I'm sorry, you ain't up to it, mate. Just have them in it.
Yeah.
But obviously, at this point, I assume Colin Baker, Dick LeBron...
they were long gone.
Yeah, okay.
I think all the falling outs have happened. They're certainly not very pleased that these things are being released on DVD. Well, they don't even know, and then they find out, and then they're like, we want some money, and that money's not forthcoming.
I do genuinely think there is a time to let things go.
Yeah.
And Bags just doesn't have that, you know?
No, he absolutely doesn't.
And there's a time to stop charging.
Yeah. This is the thing. If this was a freebie on a YouTube channel, I would not have a problem with it. I'd just be like, okay, it's a fun little fan audio that tries to fill in a blank, as fans often do. But I don't think there's any call to expand the universe, to introduce other characters. Like... The only expansion required is if these characters are played by as good actors as the other characters, and they all meet in a compelling story, probably written by Nick Briggs.
I mean, you would know this if anyone does. Is there a fandom of The Stranger? Are there Stranger cons,
No,
that people go to?
Absolutely not.
Are there Facebook groups where everyone gets together and does Stranger watch-throughs?
No, there is a very, very small group of fans.
It's you and me, innit? It's just the two of us.
There is a small group of fans who remember BBV fondly, and an even smaller group of fans who still buy all the stuff they do now. And if people are enjoying that stuff, fair play to them. For me, this is a fun little bonus that adds nothing to the universe and brings down the overall quality of the
Yeah,
rates.
it's a shame, isn't it? It's a shame, because I think with all the videos and the first two audios, you've got a level of competence there. And it's the last sort of three we're talking about here. That's where the quality dives.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to say on these short stories?
What else could we possibly say about this story?
This is the most coverage they've ever got on anything.
I listened to the last one, which is 3 hours long, and I've got nothing to say about that. What the fuck am I going to say about these 10-minute ones?
So, Force of Nature, Coming of Shadows, Clanger, Banger, Average Meander.
They're clangers.
They are clangers.
Yeah.
Like,
they're not long enough to be average meanders, are they?
No. There's a couple of nice ideas in there that perhaps could have been explored over a longer story, but I think it's trying to turn The Stranger into something it's not. So yeah, bang, it does not. Clang, it does.
think the instinct to add some weight to those videos is a bad one. I just don't think these are executed well.
Agreed.
Too hot for TV.
So the stranger disappears for a long time, as it should, long dead. Nobody ever thought it would come back, least of all me. But there was one man who kept that flame alive, and his name was William Baggs.
God bless that man.
Around the time of Probe, When to Die, BBV comes back and starts releasing a variety of different and new Doctor Who spin-offs, in inverted commas. Does a lot of stuff with Probe, which is mainly Baggs talking to the camera. And there are 2 stories for Probe credited as Stranger Stories, but we're not going to cover them because it is literally like a 3-minute video of him retelling the plot of Breach of the Peace. So we just don't need that in our lives.
If you look under a thesaurus under sellout, you'll see a photograph there.
But then in the year of our Lord, 2023, the 60th anniversary of a TV show we love, somebody approaches Bill Baggs, a writer called Jason Russell, with the idea of doing a new Stranger novel called The Stranger in a Strange Land.
I was just going to say, I fucking wish I'd read this as a novel rather than listening to the audio.
But we'll get
there.
into that. No, we need to set the scene here, obviously. So, news at the time. The Goblin song was announced as being a part of the new Christmas special and getting a single release, while Ruby's Adopted Family's casting was announced.
Don't you love the Goblin song? It's good to meet you, you great big thing. Good to see you having a fun day. Meet my friend,
no
she's
comment.
Ruby Sunday. Sorry, I just wanted to sing it for you.
Nice to diddly-deet you, mate.
You do it well.
Releases at the time. From Big Finish, we had In the Bleak Midwinter featuring 8, Charlie and Audacity. We had the Torchwood story, Oracle. We had Everywhere and Anywhere featuring the 11th Doctor and Valerie. The Revenge of Wormwood featuring the Rani, Clyde and Luke. We had The Last Day featuring the 7th Doctor and fucking everybody. The Hox Death Time Capsule featuring the 6th Doctor. Enemy Mine featuring the War Doctor. From BBC Books, we had Wild Blue Yonder and The Giggle. From BBC Audio, we had The Romanoff Project featuring the 13th Doctor and the Fam. The Cuckoo featuring the 12th Doctor and Clara. We had Children of the Circus from AUK Studios and a novelisation of it. The comic strip was a mini adventure with the 14th Doctor and Donna set after the Star Beast. On BBC One, we had Wild Blue Yonder, The Giggle, and The Church on Ruby Road. And then we get this. A new novel, a brand new novel featuring the Stranger, and more
the zenith of the 60th anniversary.
Exactly.
This novel.
This is why the Starbase didn't work for me, because I just read this, and
I can understand. I can understand. Well, I've got to say, right, you do have both the most celebrated and the most panned Big Finishes there in that list. The 11th Doctor and Valerie stuff, which has gone down a storm. I've not seen a soul say that it isn't a fantastic run. Even our Luke Malloy liked it.
I've not heard it, but I really want to because everyone says it's fucking brilliant.
Well, coming to a Too Hot for TV near you. And on the other hand, The Last Day. Good grief.
Yeah.
Poor McCoy. He's only in 30 minutes of the 6 hours of his last day.
He was probably busy.
I know, and the rest is propped up by Sophie Aldred and all those other dregs that they've got in there. Oh, it's terrible. Anyway, sorry, on to the novel.
Too hot for TV.
Preston Richards, aka The Stranger, wakes up with shattered memories, haunted by a vision of a beautiful woman's death, but he can't recall if he killed her. Disorientated and alone, he finds himself in a foreign world where no one recognises him, and shockingly, no one has heard of England. As he navigates this unfamiliar land, Preston depends on the kindness of strangers, while a mysterious shadow pursues him. He discovers the woman he's been seeing in his dreams is here too, and it's Meta, whose very presence is unbalancing this world. They meet a Protectorate agent who says the only way to save this world is to kill Meta, but instead they leave the world to heal as they head back into the web.
Too hot for TV.
Was there any more life left in The Stranger? And was the 60th anniversary the time to bring it back?
Yes, I think there are more stories you could tell with this character. No, it should not have been this in any way, shape, or form. Like I sent a message to our Michael Mills, he's been on a few Too Hot for TVs, and said, you know what? I said, this In a Strange Land novel is read by Bill Baggs. And had this been high art literature, he would have somehow made it utterly tedious. And then I followed that up with a message that said, this is not high art literature. Which it's not.
The thing is, it's sort of impossible to judge the story like the prose. I'm not saying the prose would be fantastic if you read it, but we both listened to the audiobook, and dear God, like this man talks monosyllabic for the entire time. Occasionally he tries to do an accent for one of the characters, but it's not consistent. You can hear a hum in the background. You can hear edit points. This is not this is not something anybody should be charging money for.
I'm putting out, right, free readings of Doctor Who book excerpts, right, which are ropey at best. They're my ones I'm talking about, not Ken Moss's. And they are leagues ahead of this, I'll tell you what. I mean, that is not a naturalistic way of talking, is it?
No.
The preceptors, they are calling time, even now. They are calling time, even now. It's a bit like that for 3 hours.
A, it's like he's never read it before, and B, it's like he understands nothing of what he's saying or the meaning behind any of it, which is weird because he claims to have created this universe.
Dylan, how did you break up this 3-hour experience? Let's compare notes.
I did it literally about a chapter at a time over about 2 months, and I messaged you very early on saying I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get through this, and you went, no, you've got to do it, but you hadn't started. Started.
Be careful what you wish for, Joe Ford. I was determined we were going to see through The Stranger and cover absolutely everything. When you said this, he says, oh, great. Bill Baggs reading it can't be that bad. Fuck me, it was bad. I was doing 15-minute excerpts and then rewarding myself with, ironically enough, 2 Hot for TV episodes in between.
Oh, well, that's
in
very
50,
sweet.
you were like both the cause of my pain and you were like the heroin I was injected into my veins to get over it.
It's just like, why doesn't he realise? Why has nobody told him that this is unacceptable? Like, this is not like audiobooks are a big ask of a listener anyway, I think, when they're read by professional actors. When we did Shakedown, I listened to the audiobook read by Dan Starkey. Dan Starkey's a great actor, does a great reading. I struggle because I struggle with the format of audiobooks, as some people do. This is like listening to, do you remember when you used to connect to dial-up internet and it used to get it's like 3 hours of that.
I get messaging you going, I've got no notes. I can't take any of it in because the reading is so bad. The information isn't going into my brain. It's like the reading was so terrible. My brain was rejecting the words and going, no, I can't handle it. If you would bear with me for one moment, please. I wrote a small list of things that I would rather do than listen to Bill Baggs talking for 3 hours, okay? It's a short list, but I want you to truly understand the extent of how painful this was, okay? You ready?
I'm ready.
So I'd rather go on a date with Matt Smith as the Doctor. And you know what I think about him. I would rather watch the Robot Revolution again. And fucking hell, I don't want to watch that again. I would rather cast Jenna Coleman as the Doctor myself. I'll do it myself. I'd rather agree with Fraser Gregory on a Doctor Who critique. I mean, that's low. That is low. I'd rather sleep with my ex, 3 removed, where he was so infinitesimal. Yeah, I was never quite sure if he was ever engaged. And finally, I would like to listen to Zagreus on a loop 100 times, then listen to this again. I mean, that's how bad this was.
Yeah, I mean, it is unlistenable. Like, I know we listened to it, but it is genuinely unlistenable. If there's anybody out there who has listened to it and enjoyed it, like, please get in touch. But also, if you've read the book, I'd love to know what that experience was like. Because, I mean, I have thoughts on the story. I can't really tell you how it ends because by that point I was gouging my own eyes out.
See, I'm the other way around. So between us, so I really didn't take any notes on but the last hour, I've got quite a few notes. So you start us off and I'll finish us.
So when we get to the synopsis, when I get to compiling the synopsis, you'll be able to tell me what happened at the end.
That's right. I can do it. Yeah.
I mean, basically, it's sort of a weird kind of reset and a retreading of everything that's happened before. So strange man in a strange land wakes up, doesn't quite know where it is, but they've never heard of England, and he doesn't really know who he is. There's also a strange woman there who doesn't know who she is. They potter about a bit until they discover that he's a member of the Protectorate and she is Meta, and the Meta reveal comes a little later on. And in order to escape this sort of rift in the dimensional web, he needs to kill Meta.
Well, that's the whole story. You haven't missed a beat.
But he doesn't kill Meta at the end, does he?
No.
She learns to do something. That's when I was too busy chiseling my own dick.
It's so odd, the ending, right? Because I think it's supposed to be written dramatically, but the way Bags read it is so casual. Yeah. So you've got the Bat, who is a Protectorate agent, and obviously the Stranger working for the...
because they go camping, don't
Preceptors, they go, they're sort of all sitting around a campfire talking about whether they're going to murder her or not. And she's there going, don't I have any say in the matter? And then she sort of izzy-wizzies a load of technobabble and it's fine anyway. Yeah. And then it ends. Yeah. And that's your 3 hours. No, wait. Can I give you a small reading at the ending, though, please?
Please
because
do.
This is the culmination of the entire Stranger's journey. You ready? This speech, as read by Bill Baggs at the end of this 3-hour story. Ready? Life isn't black or white, you know. You don't either love or hate. Emotions aren't that simple. Life isn't that straightforward. It's kind of a murky grey normally. Grey and full of unpleasant, unpredictable little complicated bits. What matters is balance, and in that balance can exist choice. So, choose well, my friends. And that's how this ends. And that's a letter from the Stranger to Egan, because Meta has been sent into a pocket dimension by Solomon where Egan is waiting. And all that was missing from that scene, that beautifully romantic moment was, somewhere only we know. Instead, someone's playing this weird folk guitar throughout this entire...
Well, that's just library music, surely. Every time there's a chapter, it goes... I
mean, will you pipe it in, please?
This is a BBV production. The Stranger in a Strange Land by Jason Russell.
But, I mean, I was grateful for that music. It was 10 seconds that Bill Baggs wasn't talking.
Yeah, every time that came up, it signaled the end of a chapter, and I was like, I am getting closer to the end.
But, there was a bit towards the end where, someone exclaimed, the entire dimensional plane is in jeopardy due to the anomalies present. And I was like...
Yeah, big drama.
What does that even mean?
But the thing is, that's big drama, and it's just the entire dimensional web could collapse in on itself and everything could be destroyed. It's like, this is a guy, Bill Baggs has been to acting lessons. He didn't
learn anything.
Well, no, he's done Amdram, and this is an offence to Amdram, his reading. It's an offence to Doctor Who fan films, which are much better than this sort of thing. It's like, this is the lowest of the low in terms of performance.
Actually, I did say to Mark, this did make me appreciate Sophie Aldred on audio on a whole new level. There's one point, right, where he's trying to, create some proper scares and ambience. And he goes, the shadow was in the background, always prowling, always searching, always prowling, always search. And he literally reads it out like that. I was like, oh my God, that's absolutely terrifying.
I mean, look, let's put to one side that he gives the most dog shit audiobook reading I think anybody's ever heard. We've discussed what the plot is. Is it a good plot? Is it a good prose? Do you think this would have been a better book?
Undoubtedly, yes. But that's only because the reading is so bad. That a reading in my head would be better than this, and that's the ultimate critique. The weird thing about the story is it reaches exactly the same conclusion as both the second Chronicle audio and the last video,
Yeah.
and that is Meta is in danger. Can we kill her or not? But minus the emotional drama
Yeah.
of Egan being in love with her. So it's just doing and that's at the end of 3 hours.
Yeah, there's no connection between the characters. There's no sort of character work at all. It's just a bunch of people coming and going within this world, and the stranger going, "Oh, what's going on?" And Meta going, "Oh, what's going on?" And the big plot twist is halfway through, we realise that the strange woman is actually Meta, and it's, as you say, it's just the same thing again, but done worse. And you were just like, "This is your big return to this, is just to do it again." To do that last story, but shitter. The third time. This is that story told again for the third time.
Like, I hate people that do this sort of thing, yeah. But, like, I could knock off a Stranger story to celebrate this. I'm going to do it right now. All out war in the dimensional web. The Protectorate and their enemies are fighting this catastrophe. And it's the tendrils of the web. It's a bit like the Time War from, Doctor Who, to be honest. But you're feeling the consequences throughout all time and space, and the Stranger caught between the moral dilemma of having to work for his people or try and stop the consequences of this terrible war and go to all these different places and sort out all the consequences. I mean, that sounds better than this shit, doesn't it?
Absolutely, much, much better. Especially, again, you're in prose, you've got an unlimited budget, and this is a bunch of people sat in a big house somewhere.
I mean, there was an almost, well, I'm not saying moral, but, at the end when Debat, what a name. Debat and Solomon and Meta are all sort of sitting around the fire talking. They realise that the Protectorate and the Stranger's side, they're not so different after all. They're both juggling the same sort of big important things.
What's Debat's real name?
Oh, tell me.
Raisin. Seriously. That's what he says. All of a sudden he goes, his real name wasn't Debat, it was Raisin.
You said that with too much emotion. Oh, he's somnambulistic, isn't he? I mean, I'll tell you what, though. A lot of people suffer these days. So you've seen the world, it's going to shit. If you're having trouble getting to sleep, please, by all means. How much was this?
Oh, too much. I think
Spend the money, all right? You will be asleep in 2 minutes.
I think it was about 12 quid.
Forget your valerian tea. Forget your sleep drugs. Just buy this.
I mean, absolutely. Does it do anything new? Like, is there anything? Is there things of merit within the story?
I couldn't see any, if I'm honest. It certainly didn't do anything as good as the best of what they've done before this. It reminds me painfully of Probe When to Die, which is a man who can't let go of something that did all right back in the day.
Yeah.
And just wants to sort of squeeze a few more pennies out of the franchise all these years later, but doing it with none of the things that made it worth or attracted people to it in the first place.
Yeah. For me, it's, again, forgetting the narration, this is a story by a certain type of fan who likes a certain type of Doctor Who, which is the Hinchcliffe era and the Pertwee era, and he thinks those eras are really serious eras because for some reason he can't see the humour in it, and they like their Doctor Who serious, and they like their Stranger serious. There's no nuance, there's no humour, and fundamentally they don't understand what makes a compelling bit of drama. They think it's enough just to have these sort of fantastical characters be in a bit of danger, and that's it.
And what do you mean not compelling drama? Listen to this line. Unless you happen to have any portable black hole generators hanging around, wouldn't you know, he said. I just happen to be plumb out of those. I mean, it's gripping stuff. Do you know what I would have done? I would have got on my hands, and if I really wanted to do this, and I wanted to put out something good, and I don't think Bags can't tell the difference between something bad and something good.
I don't think he cares.
I don't think he cares. He's utterly ambivalent about it. And he knows he'll put it out and there's some loser
Me.
that will buy this thing and listen to it. I would have got on my bloody hands and knees to Briggs and said, "Do you know what? I really want to do something special. You created all this continuity. This is sort of your baby, really. Do something for the 60th. Write me a book. Write me an audio, you know?
We'll do it for charity or something like that.
Yeah.
And just as a bit of like, I just want to tie things up and do something because this was my contribution to the wider universe, as it were. And I think they could have done something really interesting. There is an interview with Jason Russell, the author, and he is very firmly a not my doctor. So and you can absolutely, this is exactly what the show would be like if those people got their way. There is no soul to this thing whatsoever.
Can I tell you something really exciting about Jason Russell?
Go on.
So here's his sort of biog on Goodreads. You ready? Yeah. Editor-in-chief of science fiction publishing house Starry Eyed Press, has over 20 novels to his credit, set in the Doctor Who, G.I. Joe, and Four World Saga universes. However, and this is the zinger, all right? Fuck you, not my doctor. He is perhaps best known for his expansive 224 verse space opera poem series. Wow. Are you tempted?
Absolutely not.
224 verses. Jesus Christ.
Also, what's interesting is that on the website for his publishing company that published this, publishing company in inverted commas, he says that this is part of the Doctor Who universe, but it's just not, is it? Like, this isn't even technically a spin-off. This is a rip-off, if anything. Like,
is this where he gets that line in his biog about?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
What a nerve.
Yeah, so this is an interview with him on his own website where he says he got a chance to sit down with the author of Stranger in a Strange Land. It's like you are just interviewing yourself.
There's a massive bit there about the show going woke, isn't there? There's like a whole quote at the end of the interview about how it's all gone to pot, and if only I could be let loose on it with fabulous stuff like In a Stranger Land. Oh, please. Do you know what makes me angry about this book stroke audio is this is the only thing that's come out in the last decade about the Stranger, yeah. So the only new thing that they're going to be sort of advertising. So if somebody approached this franchise for the first time and listened to this, yeah, their reaction would be, "I knew it was going to be shit. I knew it was going to be this bad." And I want to make this point quite strongly. The rest of it isn't anywhere near this bad. It's the videos are really enjoyable to watch. Those first two audios are very competently made. Like it's a fun franchise, but fuck me, ending here like Probe, it's painful.
It's read by someone who cannot read books and should not be allowed to read them out loud. I mean, does he send himself to sleep when he reads books in bed at night? And it's written by someone who fundamentally does not understand what makes good drama, what makes interesting prose, what makes a good science fiction series.
Dylan, would we be breaking copyright if we put on a small excerpt of Bill Baggs reading for everyone to listen to?
I'll drop something in, and in worst case scenario, they ask me to remove it.
Oh no, he'll be grateful for the publicity.
No infringement intended.
No.
Funny thing, memory. So easy to take for granted. It isn't until you experience the drowning sensation of grasping for it and coming back empty-handed that its true worth becomes apparent. Without memory, what are we? We are blank slates, malleable, corruptible. We are at the mercy of others. I like to think my time spent without it helped me to gain a better understanding of self. A self not clouded with past experience from which to draw. A self without bias or prejudice. I now know that I am an individual of great travels and the leader of a group with dubious associations from a dimension far from here. It could be argued that my journeys through space, time, and realities themselves are little more than respites from the existence that I call mine, And yet why do I spend so much time trying to return? Perhaps the memories of these things are lost to me now. Some unique neural pathway damaged to the transmission of chemical neurotransmitters on account of so many bouts with amnesia. Often I find I am forced to live strictly in the here and now, and maybe that's the greatest gift the universe can give.
Do you have anything else you want to say about the stranger in a strange land?
No, just if I'm having to eke out an audio with the audio equivalent of an orgasm to get through it every 15 minutes, something has gone dangerously awry. Please do not take this audio as the overall quality of The Stranger, because it just isn't.
Agreed. Like, it finishes with that final video, and that is where you should leave it. There is no need to explore anything beyond that.
I never thought I would say this, but you'll be very pleased I said it on Too Hot for TV, yeah. It was miles better when Briggs was involved.
Excellent.
You know you'd get there with me eventually.
Yes, I've won. The podcast is finishing now.
Only because he released something of this dog shit. Like, Jesus Christ.
So, The Stranger in a Strange Land, a clanger, a banger, an average meander.
I don't think there's a worse clanger than this. I don't think anything you've covered in Too Hot for TV will be harder for you to get through than this.
It was absolute dog shit. It clangs. It is the most clangiest of clanger. I found nothing redeeming about it, and you should be ashamed to even put Colin Baker's face on the cover. Colin Baker's face, which might I add, is clearly a BBC publicity photo of him as the Doctor rather than as the Stranger. So fuck you and everybody that's involved in it. It's rubbish.
He's no short of no. But although, please remember, we did start this episode with 2 bangers. All right.
Yeah. Exactly.
I just really want to stress that because I think people are going to be put off.
No, they shouldn't be, and they will have heard us, hopefully, do 6 commentaries where we talk about how much we love it.
They've gone down very well, you know. I didn't think anyone would listen to you and me talking about that shit, but there we are.
Amazing. Love that. So, we've done it all. We are the world's biggest Stranger fans. How do you feel at the end of it?
I feel like finally we've achieved something in podcastdom, you know, like in terms of sort of, celebrities now, we've gone from Z- to just Z because we are the only people that have covered some bastard's going to turn up and go, no, I've done it first. But with our wit and smarts, we've done the run. And frankly, holding your hand doing it was a true pleasure.
I've had a great time. I know it ends in a terrible, terrible place, but those videos and those audios are a pleasure to revisit. And I will revisit them again throughout my life at certain points. I don't think it'll be anytime soon, but I think there will be a time in 3 years' time where I'm sat at home and I think I need a bit of a memory alone in my life.
Can I just very quickly, right? This is the range that gave us Colin as a hermit, as described in the Twin Dilemma. It's the range that gave us Sophie Aldred naked as a sentient planet. It's the range that went to a train station and told a brilliantly atmospheric Sapphire and Steel type story. It's the franchise that gave us an episode of The Bill for some reason. What was the 5th one? Oh, that was the 5th one.
That was the 5th one. You're missing
one?
The Terror Game, which gave us Louise Jameson, and also gave us Egan and Saul. You know, that was their first appearance.
He gave us John Woodmore on the screen, who's fucking fuckable in that leather jacket.
And it gave us a chance to see Nicholas Pegg eating a pot noodle, which I never thought I'd see.
And finally, it gave us the last 10 minutes of the last story, which was really exciting. Zombies attacking the house, soldiers shooting at them. Oh, it was wonderful. It's well worth exploring. It's a bit ropey. It's cheap, but there are professionals working on it, and I really think you should check it out. Just don't check out that audio.
Yeah, exactly. Stop after the final video. Squeeze in the 2 contemporary audio plays, but you don't need to go beyond Eye of the Beholder.
Too hot for TV.
Do you want to plug yourself, Joe?
I beg your pardon.
Well, you know exactly that.
No, it's been in the whole time. Yes, please check out my podcast, Hamster with a Blunt Pen Knife, which is fast approaching its 1,000th episode, wherein we will be doing an exciting The Traitors version of a hamster with a blunt pen knife. Dylan looks confused, but he's going to be involved.
Oh, great.
Yes, we do commentaries. We talk about Doctor Who books. There are also the Finish Big podcast where I cover Big Finish, an Untitled Star Trek project where I talk about, would you believe, Star Trek? Is that everything?
I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, Strictly Come Hamster as well.
Strictly Come Hamster, which everyone does seem to love, and it's gone down extremely well. I just never shut up. Put Joe Ford into a podcast catcher. You'll see me.
You can find him everywhere and anywhere, and a lot of the time here.
But still, the Zenith is covering all the strangers.
Exactly. It's the peak of anyone's life, if I'm honest. Next time, once again, I'll be joined by Liam, and we're going to be doing a deep dive into the life and times of John Nathan Turner. We're going to be taking a look at John Nathan Turner's Mythmakers, the BBV release J&T Uncut, John's own memoirs released by Big Finish and Doctor Who magazine, and, of course, Richard Marston's book, Totally Tasteless. Well, until next time, I've been Dylan.
I've been Joe.
And this has been The Stranger, Too Hot for TV.
Too hot for TV.
The next two things, what the fuck are they called?
Coming of Shadows and Force of Nature.
Too hot for TV.
So, this is like the, oh, good grief, edit this bit out. What's the third Star Wars movie called of the original trilogy?
Return of the Jedi?
No, the original trilogy. Not the original, but the prequels.
Revenge of the Sith.
Too hot for TV.
All-out war in the dimensional web. The Preceptors and the... Oh, hang on, what are they called again?
The Preceptorate and the...
Preceptors?
The Preceptorate and the... Oh, God, what are they called?
Preceptors, isn't it?
No, hang on. It's the Preceptorate. I'll cut this bit out, don't you worry.
Make us sound like proper Strangers fans.
We are. I've got a tattoo.
Do you?
No. Not a fucking moron.
You listen to all of this. That's in debate,
Why can't I find anything about it? Oh, hang on. There's the BBV. Where's BBV Wiki when you need it?
Is there one?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's made by...
Bags.
Yeah, or AI.
AI could have done this better. An AI reading would have been better.
What are they called? Why can't I... It's the Preceptorate, or... What does Solomon's...
I thought they were the Preceptors. Preceptors.
No, they're called different things.
You've written a book about this.
No. Blame the COVID.
Can you put all this in at the end of the episode? We've done the whole run and we can't even name the two major players in the Stranger universe.
Well, that says a lot, doesn't it?
Only because our brain has turned to mush at this point after listening to this.
I'll find it in 30 seconds. I'll sort it out in the edit.
Yeah, just put you in and saying the word. Okay, no, I mean, I've got a way around it. If you'd like me to, I can start again with a way around it.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. So,
Too hot for TV.